said they're looking for industry partners, and our next speaker really knows a lot about the quantum technology industry. His talk is talking about building a strong quantum industry. Johannes Verst is the CEO and founder of the Quantum Business Network, and QBN's claim is transforming the European quantum community to a strong quantum industry. So they really try to bridge the gap between academia, industry, and politics. Also, Johannes will be on our following panel about SMEs and startups, so stay tuned. How do we actually create the future together? The stage is yours, Johannes.
Yeah, thank you very much. And also congratulations to Jan to this impressive talk. And good morning, everyone. It's great to see so many friends here at the Quantum Summit. And thank you very much, Roman, for inviting me. The title of my talk is Building a Strong Quantum Industry. But in the next 5 minutes, I want to talk about the missing piece in this title. So yesterday, we heard a lot about the great efforts of politics to support quantum technologies. Just to summarize the status quo, in Europe, we have at the moment brilliant researchers, a vibrant community, over 7 billion euros of public funding, which are available in the next years. We have little activity of private investors and several regional, national, and 2 complementary European initiatives. Of course, conditions for public funding, for example, for the technology transfer, could be better, but the critical point to influence these strategies for the next years is over. So this is the initial situation, and the rest is up to us, to every one of us. So it's up to us to drive the commercialization and to build a strong quantum industry in Europe. Building an industry out of research results requires extensive support and a lot of efforts. So let's focus on the most important ones. This is the promotion of innovation or innovation support. It means supporting people to transfer an idea into a useful product and bring it successfully on the market. So there are 4 ways basic ways for technology transfer from research to the market. The one way is over RTOs. They have a very special role in deep tech and transferring the technology to the market. Some are leading in quantum technologies, but most of them are still in the orientation phase. Then we have the large companies. They are in the exploring phase. They have a few personal resources, but not extensive commitment from the C-level. SMEs, they are chronicle lacking of resources. So they have at the moment no major role, but we need to involve them in the future. And at the end, the most important ones, from my point of view, are the startups. In this early stage, they are the best vehicle, but we need to spread the risk and provide them a flourishing ecosystem. So as quantum technologies are the deepest of deep tech, no one is able to drive the revolution alone. Therefore, we need something that supports all stakeholders, all of these stakeholders. We strongly believe in the network approach, so a network that promotes networking, business creation, and the development of all organizations working in the field of quantum technologies and its value chains. Why a network? Because a network is more than an ecosystem. In an ecosystem, every person, every organization is in charge of their own partnerships, business development, their visibility, and so on. By adding a cluster management that supports all stakeholders and manages the collaboration processes within this ecosystem, provides additional values to everyone, like business and collaboration opportunities, valuable networking, fast access to private and public funding, extensive hands-on support, experienced sparring partners, and many more. So doing what is best for the whole ecosystem and the one is what QBN stands for. So let's avoid small kingdoms and build a strong European quantum industry together. I'm looking forward to a more deep dive into this topic in the following panel. And let's do it together. Thank you very much. And I'm looking forward to your questions.
Thanks a lot for your quick introduction of what QBN is doing. And I also would like to encourage our audience to ask questions, because this really is a unique opportunity to just get directly into contact with our speakers. And there's a first question, maybe if you try to look into the future, even though I know that's often quite hard, do you have a vision for QBN, but also for the quantum technology community at large for 2025, for maybe 5 to 10 years? Would you mind elaborating on that a bit?
Yeah, so I came from the photonics industry and worked a lot in supporting the whole industry. And it took, I would say 20 years to have a real established industry, a photonics industry. And we are aiming to provide the same history, but not in 10 to 20 years, but in 5 to 10 years for quantum technologies. But it depends on the subfield. So I think in 2025 to 2030, we are able to have a real strong quantum industry in Europe. And from my point of view, QBN is one really important player in this field to connect internationally all the stakeholders and support the European quantum industry on a long scale.
Great, thanks a lot. There's another follow-up question, as especially you as a network provider try to maybe bridge the gap between different players in the field. So in our next panel, we'll talk about the startup world more in detail, but maybe just the 2 or 3 most important points from your point of view. What needs to be done for startups to actually go into this field and to develop ideas and to make them ready for the market to actually be applicable in the industry?
No, that's a multidimensional answer, I would say. We have to involve them very early in networks like the Quick or QBN, that they are able to network with potential early adopters, investors, receive tailored hands-on support. We have to provide them regional infrastructure, so build a regional ecosystem and give them access to joint labs with clean rooms and so on. I think we have to change the funding approach for public funding to turn more in the direction of supporting or increasing the funding rate for startups by subcontracting, for example, or by bonuses for startups, because they took all the risk in this commercialization process. And I think what's very important is to improve the spin-off support from universities or RTOs. I think these are the main points.
Great, yeah, thanks a lot for that answer. And I guess from what we've heard yesterday, that really is a huge bridge that we should build together from academia into the business world and into industry for startups to actually have the potential and the funding to develop solutions and market-ready approaches using quantum technologies. We recently had a talk from Jan, who was talking about the collaboration between Finland and Germany. And maybe what's your point of view from looking at the European system and the European network when it comes to quantum businesses and quantum technologies? What can we learn from this international approach? And maybe do you have some success stories or best case examples how this international collaboration can be fruitful for all of us?
Yeah, I think the best practice were already presented by Jan. They are doing very well in this, and I think it's very important to look at the European scale. So from my point of view, we have to avoid small kingdoms. Means we have some regions or nations in Europe which try to support quantum technologies by their own, but I think it's very important to do it together between the nations, to support collaboration between the nations, because all the stakeholders are doing it already. All successful startups or companies are included in every regional ecosystem. So why should we fight against each other? So please avoid small kingdoms. This is my message.
Yeah, that really is a great message, and that's exactly why we're having this conference today. So we should not fight each other, but find ways to collaborate, especially across industries, across sectors, and obviously across countries. And so maybe one last question before we dive into our next panel. Let's look across the pond, what America is doing, especially under its new president. What maybe are the learnings or some things you would like to see being transferred into the European ecosystem of quantum technologies from the United States?
Becoming faster. I think this is what we have to do. So we have to find a way to strengthen or to support the entrepreneurial mindset in Europe in general, and become much faster in the commercialization. Not trying until we are quite sure that we can be successful, but just try it, just do it, and commercialize the technologies and the results we already have in research.